Welcome to another edition of Green is Good. This is the Green Sports Alliance edition of Green is Good in beautiful downtown Chicago. And we're so honored to have with us today Becky Dale and John Marler. Becky's the Manager of Environmental Sustainability Programs at AEG Worldwide, and John is the Senior Director of Energy and Environment at AEG Worldwide. Welcome to Green is Good.
Thanks for having us.
Well, this is an exciting day. We're going to be talking about, of course, AEG Worldwide, but also what you're doing here at the GSA annual event. But before we do that, John and Becky, can you share a little bit about your background? I want to hear a little about John's before we get into AEG, actually.
Sure. So my academic background is focused in public policy analysis, specifically focused on environmental policy. And I started my career at Southern California Edison, the local electric utility in Southern California, working on mostly regulatory issues related to climate change and renewable energy in California. From there, I worked in consulting for a few years and then reunited with my old colleague John working at AEG.
Gotcha. And John, what's your journey look like?
So I've always been interested in environmental issues and planet Earth. I was a geology major in college. I got my master's in hydrogeology, so that led me to environmental consulting, which led to law school and practicing as a litigator for a few years. And then in 2009, I switched over to the energy side, working at Southern California Edison, which is where I met Becky, and then saw the position open at AEG for a sustainability director and went for it. Well,
for our listeners and viewers out there that want to learn more about AEG, they could go to www.aegworldwide.com.
That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about AEG's sustainability program, AEG One Earth. Can you both share a little bit about that?
Sure.
Sure. So the program was launched back in 2007 in response to a pretty simple question from our CEO, which was, what do we need to do to go green? And so John and I have full-time jobs answering that question, which is a little bit more complicated than that.
Yeah. Well, and for our listeners out there, explain what AEG does for a living. Like, what do you guys do?
Okay. We're the leading sports entertainment presenter in the world. We own and operate sports entertainment venues worldwide, from Stockholm to Sydney, Australia. And then we also have sports teams that we own, shares in, anything from Swedish soccer teams to the LA Kings hockey team, the LA Galaxy MLS team.
Wow.
And then also an AEG Live division where we produce musical events, festivals like Coachella and Stagecoach here in California.
Wow. So then how does AEG's business goals intersect with sustainability? And how does that make a great business case in terms of, obviously, the old days where people used to push back and say, oh, being greener costs more money. Now there's actually an ROI. Can you explain how you intersect that at AEG?
We do a lot of different things, but most of them happen in large buildings that we run. And so we can make a pretty compelling case around energy efficiency, increasingly renewable energy on site, diverting waste to recycling instead of landfill as tipping fees go up. So a lot of it really comes down to operational excellence for us, and that's something that our operators agree with because they want to be great at their jobs. And then our finance people like it as well because ultimately we're saving on utility bills.
Wow. And how does that, and then interrelate that back with AEG's mission to AEG One Earth. What does One Earth actually mean at AEG?
So it's all about driving business value through sustainability. Becky mentioned operational excellence. In our view, having a very low, if non-existent, environmental footprint is part of being a good operator. And as you mentioned, now that some of these technologies and practices have started to prove themselves financially, it makes it easier to make a business case for it. But one of the things that we also haven't touched on is kind of the value. We do this because we think it's the right thing to do. We're very sensitive to our standing and our responsibility in the communities we operate.
Right.
And, reducing your environmental footprint, reducing your demand on the Earth's resources is just part of, being a good community partner.
Gotcha. And how do you message all the great work you're doing to your community base and to your clients that come to your venues?
It's an interesting question. So at the corporate level, we do have the AEG One Earth program, and we put out an annual sustainability report for our stakeholders. Our next one's actually coming out this July. And so that really summarizes what is our annual performance. We report against 2020 goals that we have in the areas of greenhouse gas emissions, water reduction, waste diversion, responsible purchasing, and education and communication for our fans. So for anyone who's really interested, the sustainability report is a great resource.
Okay.
That said, not everyone's going to read the report. So we also try to reach people through social media, in the venues, really any way we can to get little tidbits of the message out.
So when I walk through, for instance, Staples Arena, what would I see there? Is there messaging literally in terms of posters or things more quietly done? How what's the messaging in an arena actually?
So inside the arena, it's going to be relatively subtle.
Okay.
We want to have well-marked receptacles for waste and recycling.
Gotcha.
You'll see some stickers in the restrooms to show that we use environmentally preferable products,
Right.
paper products and soaps and things like that. The other place you'll see it is on the venue website.
Gotcha.
Where we have, Staples Center, for instance, is ISO 14001 certified.
Wow.
So its environmental management system has met that international spec. All that information is on their website, including links to our program and some of their sustainability accomplishments. But the challenging thing with sustainability is a lot of what we do is not going to be readily apparent.
Right.
Energy efficiency. We have 346 kilowatts of solar panels on the roof of Staples Center.
Wow.
But unless you get the blimp shot, you're not going to know that that's there.
That's right.
And so other thing that we do in addition to social media, websites, and the sustainability report are annual activations. So for Earth Day, Earth Hour, and America Recycles Day, we have events worldwide and countrywide to celebrate those and kind of raise awareness in a little bit more tangible way for the fans.
That's interesting. So you mentioned energy management. That's obviously big to what you do because you manage so many venues and so many events. Mm-hmm. What do you do for energy management? How does that look? Since you're a worldwide global brand, how does that go?
So it's a three-step process, and we're pretty regimented about it. The first thing is to kind of look at the building culture, which what we found is our operators already have great energy efficiency culture. In other words, in our industry, it's called a dark day. When we don't have an event, the lights, the HVAC, any non-essential electrical equipment is going to be powered down.
Right.
It saves money and it reduces our environmental footprint. Obviously, when we've got things going on, our consumption goes up. But through trial and error, they've understood how to minimize the usage of energy. And so, where we can, we engage with them on the cultural and behavioral aspects, making sure lights are turned off, that temperature set points are set at appropriate levels or just turned off altogether. And the next step is really looking at the infrastructure in the building and finding out, are there retrofits that we can make that are going to save energy and save money? So right now, big deal is LED lights. The technology has really proven itself, and a lot of the times the payback on those is going to be under 3, sometimes under 2 years. So you're kind of silly not to do that. And then when the venues kind of got to the point where their behavior is good, they've kind of retrofitted all that they can do from an energy efficiency point of view, we start looking at on-site generation, solar panels, fuel cells, in some cases wind turbines. We're also looking into energy storage, which seems to have a lot of promise for the way we run our buildings.
That's so interesting. And then, data is so important. What you could measure, you could, manage. How does that go? How do you assess data, gather data, Becky, and then manage that data and then eventually use it to make your business case?
Sure. So data collection is a huge part of our day-to-day job. We have an analyst who's basically full-time staff to collect data from our venues worldwide. We work with our partner Schneider Electric to use their Resource Advisor platform, through which we can, on the web, gather data globally. So we have a utility bill management service for a lot of our venues that automatically uploads all of their utility data. We collect waste data that's manually entered by all of our venues. So we're collecting a lot of data, up to 80 individual data points per month per venue. So given that we're doing that for 70 plus sites, we're working with a lot of data, and we look at that in the aggregate to see how we're doing as a company, but also we leverage that when we're looking at specific projects at the venues.
Gotcha. If you just joined us, we've got Becky Dale and John Marler from the AEG, and you can find them at AEG Worldwide at www.aegworldwide.com. We're talking about AEG Worldwide and all the stuff they're doing with regards to sustainability and making their business case. And we're here at the Green Sports Alliance. And if you want to find the Green Sports Alliance, you can go to www.greensportsalliance.org. So share a little bit about what you're doing here today. Before we talk more about AEG, which we're going to get into some more questions, share a little bit about, we're here at the GSA annual event. Both of you are speakers. Can you each explain what you're speaking about here at the GSA?
Sure. So I'm speaking on two panels. The first this afternoon about how do we engage fans in sustainability. And I'll be talking a bit about some of how the sports teams that we own, how they're engaging their fans through a variety of means around recycling, transportation, cleaning up their local communities, a number of different issues. And then tomorrow I'll be speaking about some of our water recycling efforts at a few facilities.
Great. And John?
So this morning I was in a session about sustainable development and how sports entertainment venues can kind of be the catalyst for urban revitalization and furtherance of sustainability practices.
Right.
So I was really drawing from our company's experience with the LA Live Entertainment District and the Staples Center. And then we also have projects in London at the O2 complex on the Greenwich Peninsula, in Berlin with the Mercedes-Benz Arena and the new entertainment district building there. And then also in Las Vegas, we're partnered with MGM to build a new Las Vegas arena, and then MGM is also going to be putting a new entertainment district adjacent to that site as well.
Wow.
And so these are all projects that have really kind of helped us introduce the concept not only of sustainable construction, but of how these types of projects can have synergistic impacts on the communities where they're placed.
That's so interesting. You know, if I were to ask both of you, names, first of all, how many people work for, I mean, you're managing a worldwide, all these events, all these venues across the globe. How big is your division, you know?
Well, the company overall, between full and part-time employees, it's about 30,000 people worldwide.
But in sustainability and what you're doing.
So our team of 3 is located in the corporate office, but
Wow.
you know, our CEO has signed off on our environmental policy, which binds all of our employees to our environmental programs. And then we also rely very heavily on our operators, our finance and accounting teams, our temporary workers to sort of understand what we're trying to do and then to make things happen. And oftentimes, actually, a lot of our operators are very passionate about environmental sustainability themselves. And a lot of our role is really just collecting the good stories and the outstanding work they're doing at the venues and sharing it to the public and to other venues so that they can, you know, learn from those examples.
Speak of a couple of your favorite stories. Couple of your favorite stories.
Probably one of my favorite ones that I'm going to speak about on my panel tomorrow is Citizens Business Bank Arena, a smaller arena located out in Ontario, California, outside of Los Angeles. Through the pure ingenuity of their engineers, had been using reclaimed water for irrigation for several years, which is a pretty, you know, not an uncommon practice in Southern California.
Yeah.
But they decided to take it a step further, and so they first moved to supplying their cooling towers with reclaimed water, working with the city who owns the building, obviously AEG, the local health department, you know, a number of different people involved in getting that process enacted. And then from there, they, the next year, started using recycled water for hockey ice and became the first hockey arena in the country to do that. So,
awesome.
You know, I love to see it when people come up with these truly groundbreaking ideas, and, you know, John and I had nothing to do with it. So what makes AEG a sustainable company is not us sitting in the corporate office, although I like to think we help. But it's, you know, these engineers on the ground who are coming up with great ideas.
But explain something like that. Now you hear a great diamond of an idea. Mm-hmm. Are you then able to take that and socialize it across your other venues?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
and
really
then,
cool.
You know, it's relatively larger scale projects like that, but I also think there's a lot of really fun, smaller scale projects that may not have so much of an impact on the footprint, but kind of really attach themselves in the consciousness. And my favorite examples are, we have a venue in Australia that posted a food map on their website, which basically shows where all the food and produce that is served in the convention center is located in the region. The convention center attendees love it. The public loves it because it's really supporting local agriculture, and it really kind of gets at the heart of what we're trying to do. Another fun example is the Hawaii Convention Center. Most big properties like that, they're going to have gasoline, diesel, or electric golf carts for the service employees. Well, there they have three-wheeled bicycles. So the electricians, the plumbers, the maintenance staff have their own three-wheeled bicycle. They don't have to, use electricity or fossil fuels to get around. It's quiet. It's good for their health. And then they are also allowed to personalize it. So they put stickers and decorations and stuff on it. So when you go in the back of the house area, you see these three-wheeled bicycles.
Wow.
And it's stuff like that that I think just really shows, the only limit to being successful is your creativity and ingenuity and sort of dreaming up these projects.
That's true. Talk a little bit about the future. Sustainability is a journey. What's next for AEG worldwide, sustainability, and the growth and the continued growth and success of your business model?
So there's a couple of things. From kind of a corporate, kind of programmatic level, Becky and I are going to be shifting with the team to recalibrate our company's environmental sustainability goals. So right now we track our progress in our sustainability report to our 2020 environmental goals, which were set in 2010 when we had, I think, 20 some odd facilities. Well, we now have over 76, and the number of those properties and the diversity of the properties is changing. So we've really realized that we need to recalibrate our goals to better capture how individual businesses operate, and also to help drive us to strong performance over the long haul. I think kind of getting into the operational aspects, it's going to be on the energy side, and I'll let Becky speak to sustainability side. It's going to be things like LED lamps. Those are really exciting. They're going to save a lot of energy. We've already seen in the venues that have done LED retrofits that they have documented savings. Very excited that solar seems to be an emerging option as the cost of the solar go down and utility prices go up. And then we're also very excited about energy storage technologies, as I said earlier. The way these buildings use energy is very unique in that we're kind of dark for a lot of the year, but when we have events, we use a lot of electricity, which is actually a really expensive way to use electricity.
Right.
And if you can have a way of buying cheap energy during the week and then discharging the batteries during the event to save on your peak demand, you can enhance your environmental performance and you can save money. So we're really looking at all those three things on the energy side. And Becky, I don't know.
There's so many things we could talk about, but I'll pick one, which is waste. Obviously sports venues generate a significant amount of waste, and we continue to see breakthroughs in venues going, close to zero waste through use of new compostable packaging and partnering with their haulers and potentially outside sponsors to kind of bring all those components together. And so that's something we're looking at very closely. And increasingly, for years we've been applying the business case to energy efficiency because it's pretty obvious. With waste, that's something that we're coming on to more and more. So we're tracking our waste costs. We're monitoring the fact that landfill tipping fees are going up. And we're, trying to start to make the business case more that, recycling and composting is not just the right thing to do, it's also the smart thing to do for your business.
Speak a little bit about GSA and AEG. How long has that partnership been in place?
So if memory serves, I think we joined in 2011 as a founding partner.
Wow.
And right now, I think we're up to 51 members between our sports teams and our sports venues worldwide.
Wow.
And it's been a really good partnership. I mean, we're speaking, but we also come here to learn. We get to see what other venues worldwide are doing in these areas that we care about. And, I always come away with a lot of good tips, a lot of good exchanges with vendors and our peers. So it's a great event. I'm really happy to be here.
When you said you're going to create new benchmarks, to transcend the 2020 benchmarks you have, what year you're choosing? Is it 2025 now?
I think we're going to stick with 2020.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it's still 5 years away, and the thinking right now is if we start January 1st, 2016, to December 31st, 2020, that's 5 years.
That's great.
It's a good round number. It's a good tangible thing that we can focus on to drive performance. And I really feel personally, at least on the energy side, that the technology and the economics are going to really help us make some pretty market improvements in those areas. Water's a challenge because of price of water is artificially low, which makes it hard to do capital projects. And then waste and recycling, I think, is just an ongoing challenge for us and a lot of these other venues. I hope that, as a society, as an economy, we'll be able to make some progress in that area, but it's going to be tough.
It's tough because commodity prices are low, so it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Right, which was not the case, just a few years ago.
Right. You're right. Exactly true.
Yeah, and we also operate in, across such a wide geography that what works in LA or Hamburg may not work in Kansas City. So,
very true.
We are very attuned to the local environment, but as much as I would love to have a regulatory encyclopedia in my head, I don't. So, we kind of have to go from place to place and take the best practices that we've developed as a company, but always personalize those to the local environment.
Gotcha. Well, thank you both for joining us today, and for our listeners and viewers out there, to learn more about all the great work that Becky Dale and John Marler are doing at AEG Worldwide, please go to www.aegworldwide.com. This has been the Green Sports Alliance edition of Green is Good. To learn more about the Green Sports Alliance, go to www.greensportsalliance.org. John Marler and Becky Dale, you're both making the world a better place and are both truly living proof that green is good. Thank you both so very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.